Hello, hello. Just a second. So I'm just wanting to make sure anyone else who streams on YouTube. There's two options in my live stream settings. One is auto start and auto stop. Oh. Or not. Does it seem to... Oh shit, we're back. Okay, maybe I did fix it. Maybe I did fix it. I think that's good. My yeah, my Starlink is struggling to output good quality. Let me turn it down to like 3. And let me turn the bitrate down a little. I'm gonna be right back. All right. All right, looks like we're good now. Okay. Sweet. We're back on track. Just give me a second. Got good connection now. Things are actually working. So that's great to hear. Great to see. No, it wasn't your internet. Just Starlink has like a 5 megabyte per second upload limit. Or seemingly. So I need to kind of keep it below that, otherwise we get dropouts. So yeah, just a second. I'm just gonna let everyone know that we're live streaming, and then we can go on. Here we go. All right. Your time. Thank you. Also gonna. Good. The screen is massive. Let me just got smaller. And then while I'm at it, how's the mic quality? Mic quality is good, actually. For SM7V. Of a bit of a messy setup. Barely have space on my desk. Hopefully I don't knock over my monster can. And the process. All right. A little weak. Am I a bit quiet? I can turn myself up. It should be good volume though, but oh yeah, I can see it. I can probably actually let me compress my voice just a little bit more and turn up the auto gain. I hope I haven't compressed myself too much. Is that good? I'm gonna check on YouTube real quick. That sounds pretty good, I think. Awesome. Sounds amazing. Okay, I'm just gonna do one more thing with the Growth3 plugin. I'll be right back. All right. That should hopefully be good quality. Oh, just one more time. 1 second. All right, there we go. Coolio. That should be good. Sweet. Okay. We got it. We got it. We got it. Nice. How's everyone doing? +1 for Chroma on mic. I don't think there's a VST2 version of Chroma. I would need VST2 for Chroma to work on my mic. What is it? Here, sorry. Sweet. So, welcome. I hope you're all well. I've got a little video to show you. Just this one. Yes, it is. Open it up in Photos. That looks cleaner. Sound. Hello. All right. And okay, let me just see here. So, as many of you know, Chroma 1.2 is out, and I've done a little demo tune just to show you what I can do. I'm just going to play the video first, and then I'm going to get into it and what the update is about. Also, hello Speechers and Keel and Ximbodio. Glad to have you here. After a little bit of trial and error, just making sure that the stream doesn't die, everything's working. So, this is Chroma 1.2. Let me go ahead and put that roughly in the middle. I'll hide myself here for a second. Hopefully the audio works. Let's see. Audio is not working, I hear. Is it not working? Great. I've just played a video without, 1 second. Headphones. There we go. How about now? Yep, that seems to be working. Let me turn that down a little bit. Sorry about that. That was anticlimactic. And one more time. Sweet. So, that being said, welcome to another YouTube stream. It's been a while. I've had a lot of things to do and a lot of things to change. And but now that the update is out, it's on. Got a little Chroma themed helmet down here. Just a little thing. Yeah, so with that being said, it's been over a year since Chroma initially launched, and we did have an update in between, which did just a few small tweaks, like extending the ranges and adding, I think, better MIDI support. But now we are on version 1.2. Also, quickly before I continue, let me just check if I can get the YouTube chat open. Docs, chat, see it. I may as well make this guy not full screen. Get the chat on this side. OBS. There we go. That's cleaner. The advantages of having a ultra wide. What can I see here? Yep, over there. Wait. Go there. Okay, top chat, live chat. Let's go to live chat. Okay, hello Diamond, Marisim, Double Dot, Dogrant, Vale, Spock and Step, Naki, Speechers, Captain Cool, D-Milky, Lily. I'm not sure how delayed the stream is. Hopefully it's not too delayed. It's 1440p, so it should be good. No buffering, hopefully. Not buffering, I'm hoping. Because the quality sometimes can sometimes be a little bit iffy. Oh no, I am buffering. No, I'm not buffering anymore. Yeah, sometimes Starlink has great download speeds. I can get up to like 400 megabytes. Well, realistically, it's like up to like 32 megabytes per second download. But upload speeds are not great. And that's still an issue. But hopefully it's doable. It's good for the most part. A little bit of buffer. Okay. Let me check that I'm actually not pushing this because I want to make sure I'm not. In streaming, no, it's set to 3000 kilobytes per second. That should be good. Okay. Just what? Saying not received. Are we buffering or are we good? We're good, right? We're not buffering or anything. I hope we're good. I think Chroma works pretty different under the hood than Prism. Oh yeah, we can get into that in a bit. That's all working for you. I got the access. Right, great to hear. Yes, if you guys are seeing, Speechres is the developer behind SimAudio, so he's the big brains putting it all together into a plugin. And without them, Chroma would not be as good as it is, and would not have the feature set and possibilities that it can offer. So big shout out to Speechres. Factorio stream win. Oh, I don't know if people would be interested in that. I think they get the same kick from me making like processing chain. Everything's chill now. Perfect. Everything seems to be running. Yes. Starting once again, sometimes there'll be a bit of buffering. Maybe not. I would have to lower the quality a lot for it to be stable. That's the only problem with Starlink, is that it's a bit hit or miss. Hello, Mackie. How do I update? Just re-download? Yes, you just re-download and replace. Let the installer replace the file, I suppose. But yes, so once again, as you can see, Chroma version 1.2.0 in collaboration with SimAudio and NASCO. We've been working on this update for quite a bit, and the main thing, or the main feature of this new update, is the Spectral section. So you now get a Spectral morph and a Spectral gate. And these two features I've been already kind of prototyping and experimenting with in plug data. And initially, my very first plug data patch was called Spectral Mask. So if I open that up and see it right here, this is Spectral Mask, which is effectively doing the same thing as the gate in Chroma, but at a higher FFT size. Switch in Chroma between 512 and 1024, which is awesome, because specifically morph can sound better on one or the other. It depends on the type of material you're working on. Are we still buffering, or are we good? Message retracted. Why was it retracted? That was quick. Light buffer. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is for some reason, I mean, I could try using Ethernet, but I really don't think it's going to make a huge difference. It's just Starlink being Starlink. The oh yeah, no worries. But yeah, so fairly soon after Chroma came out and people started using the color dial, as you can see right here, at 200%, I noticed that a lot of people were kind of they kind of heard this effect as sort of Chroma sound, right? You turn up the color to 200%, and then you get all of this filter ringing and all of the sort of vocoder style results, and then that's sort of what Chroma is. When realistically, initially Chroma only let you turn the color up to 100% because then it was only doing the processing that was supposed to. And then in the beta phase for the initial release, we noticed that people wanted even more of an effect out of it, especially when they started using, you know, atonal signals and more sort of sound design signals. So we decided to let the literal sort of peak filters that Chroma uses, we let them ring out more, which obviously gave people more colorful results, but then also gave Chroma more of the sound that it had. And specifically gate and morph are supposed to tackle that the sort of side effects of letting the filters resonate much more. So gate is very similar to the spectral mask, where effectively a gate and morph use the dry signal that comes into Chroma to do processing on the wet signal, which means, you know, we have the FFT effects affecting the result of Chroma, but it's using information from the dry signal that's coming in. This is the same demo here. Just open up on Ableton, and this is what it sounds like. Yes, there will be a bit of buffering from time to time because Starlink doesn't have the most stable connection for me right now. What I can try and do is lower the bitrate even further, but that might make the stream look very crunchy, like very crunchy. So I kind of don't want to do that. Hopefully the quality is okay, and then rather, you know, you have a dip or there from time to time. Every 5 minutes. Okay, perfect. Mostly stable. That's great to hear. Yes, and an album is in the plans, but not at the moment. Rather just singles and EPs probably. But this is the demo track. We've got a drums group here. We've got a melodics group which has a few vocal chops and a piano and some of the outro bits. But most importantly, these are the drop sounds. If I mute the sidechain, this is what it sounds like. So pretty beefy. There's only one Chroma on this entire drop group. So there's just one. If I disable Chroma, this is what it sounds like without Chroma. That's without, and then this is with. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to disable the new features, which are gate and morph, and just show you what it sounds like without those. So this is what you would be getting before the update, which is obviously way harder to kind of deal with. And then this is what we're getting after. Oops, sorry. Exactly, that's the typical Chroma sound that we expect. But now we can lessen that and we can keep the good bits about Chroma. So what I can do now is I'll just play the drop again. I'll actually be posting a YouTube video as well, just with the same demo project, just kind of moving through the morph so you can see the before and after. But I'm just going to do that right now. I'm just going to lower it down to 0. I'm also going to lower the gate all the way just to -80 dB. Let's actually just start off with morph. I'm going to start playing the drop group, and I'm going to start bringing in the morph so you can hear the difference. And I'm going to disable Chroma entirely so you can hear before and after. So even at 100% morph, a lot of the filtering is gone, but the sound is still there. Does that make sense? It's a thing that's not existed before. Even with other plugins that do similar things, this particular chain of events or effects in the way we've laid them out, it does not exist in other plugins. Besides the morph, we also have the gate, and the gate is very interesting as well because it works a little bit different. The way the gate works is, think of it like an audio gate, but it's taking the dry signal as the reference material to know where to gate. And then obviously the gate works on frequencies. So if you use it on this, even at low amounts, like let's say -64, if I disable it, listen to the very first sound. You hear all of that ringing. If I enable it, completely clean. So on top of, letting you do spectral gating sounds and effects, what this does is it completely cleans up a lot of the resonances that Chroma comes with. So you could even not use morph if you like the sound of Chroma, but you can remove all of the resonances with the gate. So I can even pull down some of the color. If I want an even more intimate sound, I can turn up the gate and make it all a little bit tighter. And this is the first feature that we had in Chroma 1.2, which was just the gate, the spectral gate. And then I started experimenting with the idea of cross-convolution, which is essentially spectral morphing. So what we're doing is we're taking the amplitude or the volume of all the frequencies, and we're multiplying them with each other. We're combining them, and then we're normalizing after. So this is what morph is doing effectively in a range. So when you turn this up, what it's doing is it's taking the volume of the frequencies and applying the dry ones to the wet ones to sort of multiply with each other. It's almost like convolution to some degree, but it's leaving the phases for all the nerds now that are in the chat. In terms of FFT, you always kind of split between the magnitude and the phase. And in this case, it's not doing anything to the phase, it's leaving that alone. So effectively, a lot of the filtering that Chroma does is still is staying in the sound, but the magnitude, the time information of the frequencies is being tightened up and sort of morphed back to the original. And a side effect of that, as you can hear if I turn the morph all the way up, it also adds a lot of the texture back and a lot of the micro details of the original sound that Chroma was smearing away with the filtering. But because the phase information is still the same, we're getting all of this sort of pitch correction style effects of Chroma. And this is only really helped by actually turning up the color. If we had the color at 100% and we turned up morph, I'm going to mute the sidechain. You can still hear some of the effect, but it's obviously reduced. So that's where turning up the color can help sort of further manipulate the phase so that still has the pitch corrective sort of quality to it. Another thing that you can do, and I highly recommend everyone to try this whenever they're trying out the new morph feature in Chroma, is to mess around and see if maybe 512 FFT size actually works better for you. Because sometimes, and the way the morph works in this case is it gets a bit technical, but what we're doing is we're saying, let's take all of the ringy, frequencies and replace them with the dry, non-ringy ones. And in this case, we actually get a more pure sound by lowering the FFT size, so having a smaller amount of bands to replace, because the overlap is bigger. So if we turn down the morph and slowly bring it back in, if we, for example, go to this sound right here, we can turn on, we can switch the FFT size. And there's a slight difference in sound. Let's go to a different one. Go to this one. So there's a slight difference in texture, and sometimes certain notes will sound a little bit off depending on if you use 512 or 1024. It depends on the use case, effectively. Another cool feature or side effect of using the 512 version is that it actually introduces less latency. So if you take a look at Chroma down here, we can see now with the high quality mode, which we can, by the way, just deactivate. It pretty much will sound the same. The total that Chroma is using with 512 FFT is just 10 milliseconds of latency. We're getting an effect that other plugins need hundreds of milliseconds to do similar things. We're just using 10 milliseconds. And if you turn the quality up to 1024, oftentimes the gate will sound a little bit better when the quality is at 1024 or the size is at 1024, but sometimes it'll just sound better at 512. So I recommend to just try it out, switch it, see what sounds better. In this example, having the morph at like 65% and then combining that with the gate together. And the cool part is that these two effects both use the same processing or the same underlying process. So that means it doesn't double the latency. If I check Chroma again and I switch it to 512, we're using a spectral gate and a morph at only 10 milliseconds. So yeah, Spectral, as you mentioned, I will go into the details soon about something. iPad had a question. Could you explain how it works and how you did? Oh yeah, okay. So I suppose I went over that. Oh, that makes sense. I did this with EB resonator, the dry signal effectively gating wet signal. No ring. Doing it spectrally is a fantastic idea. Yes, absolutely. There's some more trickeries, like kind of smoothing out the gates and stuff so they don't sound super sort of artificial. But yeah, that's effectively the gist of it. Regarding the sounds that I have in here, what we can do is, and this is the most fun thing ever, is the way the spectral morph and gate work. It means you can really just throw it on songs and it works, and it doesn't sound just like Chroma. So what I can do here as an example is just bring in a few of my bass loops and my sounds from my Patreon. Just show Chroma on them. Obviously, you can create your own sounds, and we might as well do that in a minute. But I'm just wanting to show you the effect that it has, just how clean it gets without having to have any processing afterwards. So as an example, I'm going to bring in a pattern, a bass pattern. Let's bring in this one. Then I'm just gonna, Instinctively loading up plug data effects. That's hilarious. Let's load up Chroma. And let's put this on D, as this is in D. So we'll put that on D. Turn up the color to, let's do 150 for now. So that's the regular sound that we get out of Chroma, right? Is sort of now we have all of this ringing, and even though we get the effect, we're kind of losing a lot of the stability that the original signal had. So let's turn that back up to 150. Let's go ahead and just use the gate. I'm going to lower it down all the way just for now. That's helping a little bit. Let's reset it to the default. That's cool. That's really cleaning it up. Now let's switch to the morph. So just enable it. We're going to go ahead and loop this section, and I'm going to slowly bring it in. I'm also going to bring up the color. And you can hear how some of the resonances sort of disappeared. And this is because of the way the FFT kind of has all these bands, and there's sort of overlapping bands, and certain resonances might disappear. So what you can do is you can try the 512 FFT mode. And that might give you a bit of a different result. We can obviously bring back the morph a little bit. Have it at 75% here. And then we're going to bring in some of the gate. Another option that might give you better results is also enabling high quality. We're just going to switch the shifting of the frequencies to a higher quality method. You know that will add a little bit of latency, so now we're sitting at a total of 2048 samples. So if you don't need it and it doesn't make much of a difference, you can keep it off. We can also try using a lower FFT size. And that lowers our total latency down to 32 milliseconds. I'm just going to keep this at 1024, and I'm going to disable the high quality mode just for now. Now, what I'm going to do is just bring in other sounds and other patterns and see what's going on. So this is another bass pattern. Let's turn this on. This one has some off-key notes in there, so I'm going to switch to the next one. So you're hearing some sort of color accents in the sound. Bring in the next one. So this is without. And then with. Let's disable morphing gate. Morph. Let's down to 50%. So we can also try and extend this to the high end. So not so much the low end, because that's going to be very ringy. Let's try the next one. So, obviously with all of these effects, the question is, how much CPU does it use, right? So, as far as I know, with all of the features added and active, Chroma will actually use less than the initial version. And there's a specific reason why. We now have a new feature called multi-rate in Chroma. What multi-rate does is, because Chroma is band limited, which means you're limiting the processing to a specific band frequency or a specific region of the frequency spectrum, we can actually do something very smart, which is to lower the sample rate of the processing for this particular section. What that means is that you're still getting pretty much the same sound, but the CPU usage of it will be drastically reduced. For existing projects that you already have going on, the multi-red feature will be disabled by default because you want to preserve the original sound. But for any new instances, or obviously you can go back to those older projects and enable it there if you want even more CPU out of your system. What this means is that, and this also affects, by the way, the spectral effects. So if multi-rate is enabled, not only is just Chroma's regular processing going to improve in terms of CPU usage, also the spectral effects are going to run much lighter on the CPU. With all of that said, this kind of concludes Chroma as an effect. The spectral effects were really the last bit that it needed to be able to do what it does without the restrictions of the type of effect that it is, if that makes sense. I'm going to bring in a bass session, which is effectively just a big chunk of a bass sound, just so you can get a feel for what it sounds like. So this is without it. Now I'm going to bring in Chroma. So, without the effects, one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just turn off the band for the low end. And I'm going to bring in a plugin of mine, which is called N-Sub. And this is just going to add a sub to the low end based on the audio. Just so I can get some harmonics. Just so you get a bit more of a harmonic sort of context. Now, the other great thing about this update is that because of the way we can effectively reduce the ringing of the results of Chroma, you can use this on drums and percussive elements and all of those things that have lots of dynamics. So if we go ahead and, for example, load up to... I mean, we can even try this on a growl as an example. This is a pretty beefy growl that I made, and this has a lot of texture to it. Let's turn on this up again here. Let's lower this just to default. So you can hear all of the crispy high end and all of the sort of very tight frequencies. And just with regular Chroma, this would all kind of just be washed away. But now, with morph, specifically, you can hear how we can just impose what Chroma is effectively doing under the hood without all of the crazy filtering. And the 512 FFT mode, Spectral mode, is actually even cleaner. So we can do some fun stuff now. Like, for example, I'm going to bring in kilohertz's multipass, and I'm just going to start adding frequency shifter to the mids. Let's disable the morph. Bring it in. Let's try some of the gating. You can get some really gnarly sounds if you turn the gate up almost all the way. You get a ton of sounds that were previously kind of hard to get right with Chroma because of all of the side effects that it had. Different ones. And for example, if you start pitching this around, get all the really cool sort of chord imposings happening. Let's try some percussive elements. I'm going to bring in this break. So we can see how well it holds up in these kinds of scenarios. So this is just regular Chroma. Let's try a different cue this time. Let's enable morph. Let's try gate. So I actually really like the combination of the two because I would like to use a little bit less morph and more gating. Let's disable this. Lower the gating. Let's enable the end stop here. Mute the sub from the original signal. Bring in a big reverb. Turn that down. So we can almost turn just a drum loop into something very... You can kind of hear it doesn't have the overly tonal aspect. This is a very smooth pad. Try a different micro break. You can obviously also just mute the high band and just get some cool effects. Maybe just with the gate here. I'm going to start throwing in just a frequency shifter for Chroma. So you can do a lot of just fun stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just high pass the low end a little bit. Let's turn off gate. Now we're getting that resonator effect. And now we're getting something very unique. So yeah, I implore all of you to try out the new update. Obviously, it's free to anyone who already owns Chroma. For anyone else, it's $40. I don't think we have a update sale right now, but you also are able to get still after all this time a 15 USD discount on my Patreon. I think it was 15. So if you already kind of like subscribed, just write me a DM on Patreon if you've subscribed, and you can get a discount there as well, still for Chroma. But maybe there will be other ways to save a bit of money on maybe you have a friend that wants to get Chroma but they're not entirely sure because, you know, it used to sound just like Chroma. Maybe there'll be other opportunities in the future for all of you. But yeah, there's so many sound design possibilities. I'd say we get started on just some experimental, explorative sounds. I'm going to go ahead and load up a fresh instance here of Ableton. And I think for this, I'm going to use Serum 2, because that's fairly popular at the moment. Some of you might be curious what this sounds like on a saw wave, as an example. So if we bring in, let's keep it at D minor here. Let's just use the gate. Let's also try the morph now. Sounds like an underwater effect. Lower the frequency of that a little bit. Start bringing in the Spectral oscillator, and then start just throwing in some cool sounds to see if we can get some cool procedural. Throw in a high pass filter on this. Maybe also a low pass filter. No, actually, let's go to the spectral effect. Go ahead and just throw in a little bit of a filter there. as far as I'm aware, I don't know if speeches are still in the chat. You can also automate these. So if you wanted to automate the morph and the gate to come in at specific points. Yeah, that's just me literally playing with the spectral oscillator and a saw wave. We're going into oops, that one's a bit low. Kind of mono and legato. Again, without Chroma. Try the Shepherd filter. Getting much out of that one. Suppose. Nothing come out of it. Sounds almost gone now. Why is it so quiet? Did I mess something up? Meditative stream. And that's literally just running, like, you know, spectral randomness through it. So with the morph and the gate as well, it feels like the results that you're getting are, even if sometimes slightly detuned, it's to some degree even desired for it to not be very, very pure. There's certain occasions where, especially with pads and more atmospheric things, sometimes a little bit of detuning of those frequencies is not necessarily a bad thing. It's like natural detune from instruments or from you know, the detune that we use in synthesizers. Now, of course, we can use minor major scales and make everything sound pretty, but let's try Phrygian dominant. Because that's got a bit of a different vibe. And just in case, so I hit the right notes because I'm just using the typing keyboard. I'm going to bring in Phrygian dominant here. I can hit the right notes. Interesting sound. Without it. Should probably try a high pass filter on this one. Ah, because I switched it to a low pass. That makes sense. That's a bit low now. Chroma without Chroma. So yeah, that's the power of just Serum's Spectral oscillator combined with the new Chroma update. Phrygian dominant is wild. You can do so many things with it. And if you wanted to, you can create even more scales in here. There is a JSON file that you can edit. There's a little bit more involved, but generally speaking, it works pretty easy. You select the notes that you want, and then you'll also be able to change the root note of those. So this is effectively sort of an offset for that, for the scale that you want. One in particular that I personally really like is Dorian, which can have some really, really interesting emotions. Now, what happens if we try the Phrygian dominant on bass material, on stuff that is heavy and loud? Let's try going to go with... oh, I actually have some interesting melodies here. the heavy guitar loop. Try on this one. So I just want it to be a little bit more synthetic and colorful, but still in the same style. So I'm going to put it to D13 dominant. Bring in the morph and the gate. So it's like creating a chord now. What if I just clean it up and just remove some of the notes? Let's try an octave up, just a semitone up. See what happens. Back to the thing. So on other material, it can have really, really interesting results as well. Go ahead and bring in a grain that is actually in D sharp minor. Let's lower the gate, lower the morph. Turn up the... Try out different ones. Without it. Whoops. Turn up the morphing here to really keep the textures. Here's without it. And with it. Oh. Let's try turning a pad in D minor into D13 dominant. Why not? What if we only wanted a specific section of the frequency spectrum to go Phrygian dominant? What if we wanted to purify it? Let's say we only want a D note. Let's do a D sharp. Cool. Bring in some more basses. Let's go ahead and load up another pattern, and let's try the Phrygian dominant on it. Try on this one. Let's go D, Phrygian dominant. Remove the D sharp because that's kind of adding too much sustain. Suspense. Let's lower them off. Let's make it super clean with the gate. Now what we can try is maybe put in a frequency shifter. I'm getting slightly different results with that. Yes, we've got an internal spectral gate now, and this spectral gate is actually based on the dry signal. So if you think about like an audio gate, if we're trying to, put a gate on something that is already ringing and already has a tail, then the gate can only do so much. When we are basing the gate on the dry signal though, before it added any ringing, then we get something that closer represents the original signal in terms of sort of how the amplitude of a signal goes. And since this happens on the frequency spectrum, we're getting something closer to the original. The morph, on the other hand, is actually cross-convolution. It's convolving the dry signal with the wet signal together so that they affect each other. And this is happening just on the volume of the frequencies. And no spectral gate ever came with a sidechain input before, so this was not even possible. Yes, you are right. There are some that could potentially do it. I also had my own plug diner patch that did this, which was called Spectral Mask. So if I disable these guys and I load up Spectral Mask, that has an external input, so you can select the same channel and then have pre-effects, and then I can start bringing this up. But this was happening on the entire spectrum, and the FFT size in this case was a bit lower. So, with the release maybe. Generally speaking, having it built into Chroma means we can do really, really clean crossover filtering, and all of the FFT processing and all the other crazy processing that we have in it is as clean as it can be, and also more CPU efficient thanks to the multi-rate support, which came in handy because Chroma, even with the range extension, only goes up to 8 kHz, which means that effectively processing can be limited to around that area. Let's try out some other bass patterns. We're getting some really interesting ones when we're including ones that aren't in the scale. Let's go back to D minor. You can just hear how clean it is. This is a perfect example. This is a very, very transient heavy sound. As you can see right here, if I'm actually going to resample this, just so you can see what's happening. If I resample this particular sound here, and I disable the morph and the gate, and I just record this, you can just see, I'm going to just mute this section right here, so you can see how much ringing is introduced. So, the ringing of Chroma goes on for quite a bit. As you can see, it goes up to like 500 milliseconds roughly. So all of this tail is due to the filtering. This is all real time. Now, if we bring in just the gate and lower it to -80 dB, you can see even just that has cleaned up the tail significantly, because on top of doing a frequency gate, like a spectrum gate, you also have an audio gate in it. And what the audio gate does is it says basically when the signal is absolute or close to absolute zero, like the original signal, then we're also going to stop any ringing from Chroma. So what that does is if you have sounds that are very, very tight, like for example, I have pitches section. Like this particular sound here. Solo this. And without the gate, we're getting all of those filtering resonances. And then with this enabled, even at 512, it's really taking care of removing a lot of those tails. And then if you start turning up the gate, Now as well with morph. You can make it sound super, super natural. Let's bring in a frequency shifter so we can have some fun. We can try another fun little plugin by someone else who's actually just in the chat now. It's called Blair. And they have actually released a plugin called Anti-Chroma, which is pretty funny. It's effectively something similar to like Ableton's Corpus. I have it, I think. No. And this is effectively a very complex resonator. The cool part is that running this through Chroma gives us very, very interesting musical results. So let's remove multipass here. And without the spectral effects, it would all be just a bit too much. Now it just sounds like Chroma. Bring in the gate, that helps a ton. Let's bring in morph. So yeah. Regarding the release for the Spectral gate, there's actually a little bit of smoothing involved already to make the transitions a little bit smoother. But if you wanted to have a little bit more release to it, one of the ways you could kind of emulate that is by lowering the gate amount. The issue is that we really wanted to have the gate clean up the processing. So what you could do though is you could always have another Spectral gate after Chroma. For example, in my case, I do have one. It's called Spec Gate. So if I wanted to use that, I could turn up the gating and then have a decay for all of those. So this is rather more like a standard gating effect. In particular with Chroma, the built-in Spectral gate effectively uses itself as a sidechain input and specifically designed to remove any ringing. But you can always kind of bring it back by just lowering the threshold. So what I'm going to say is we've had a lot of audio examples. What I want to do now is just kind of do some sound designing, and we'll see what it can do in practice. In this case, I'm actually going to load up Faceplant. Faceplant is great. Faceplant is awesome. Glad to hear. You should totally play around with the morph as well. It's quite special. There's not really much like it in other plugins. The combination of the two can really just clean up anything that Chroma produces, and it gives you a sound that is really not possible in other plugins because of just the sort of obscure chain of effects that all kind of work together in this very particular way. Especially since the spectral effects are now part of the new update, whereas they weren't there before, so Chroma wasn't really designed with them in mind. But then over the last year, I've developed these particular features to work specifically with Chroma. So here's some other cool little things you can do in Faceplant, which is one of the things, which is really, really fun, is if you've ever used Filter Table can simulate regular wavetables. So as an example, I have a wavetable here, and I'm going to load up a wavetable of mine called additive 01. So this is what it sounds like. What I can do now is load up same wavetable in Filter Table, wavetables, additive 01. And then what I'm going to do is going to set the phase here to original or raw. In this case, I'm going to use raw because raw is real time. Then we're going to change the wavetable here to just be a saw wave. And in this case, I'm just going to put the cutoff to 880 because that's roughly where the D node is. And now we've decoupled the partials from the magnitudes in the phase that are being introduced by the wavetable. We can key track this using a note, just turning it all the way up on the cutoff and setting the cutoff to 10,500 hertz. Now, this is really powerful because what it allows you to do is actually move the cutoff and get Foreman shifting. So the partials, the saw wave stays the same, but we can effectively move the Foreman of the wavetable. And this can be really fun as well if you, say, had a fully chromatic signal going into Filter Table, which we can try in a minute as well. But where this becomes really powerful is when you switch the saw wave to a square wave, because now we're only getting square wave harmonics, but our Filter Table is still the full all harmonics wavetable. So this is effectively a real-time squarify. You can also try original mode, which is just cleaner. Raw has some aliasing in the high end, which we can't tell in this case, but yeah. Let's bring in a D minor here. Now, note that when I'm playing different notes, not all of the partials out of the square wave are going to hit chromatic notes. The saw wave is a little bit closer. But if we picked a wavetable that perhaps only has octaves, let's see if we have any here. Let's do sines. Two sines, raw harmonics, those are not the ones. Let's go to the filter tables here. Let's go to color, maybe octava. Oh, that's not it. Do we have a wavetable with just a wavetable with just octave harmonics? If not, we can make one. But there's also another way we can do this. Let's see. Start moving through the wavetable here. So one way we can create a fully chromatic signal is by grabbing a sine wave and effectively playing an entire octave of just C to C sharp in the next octave, and then you would use the octaves mode, which we can actually use here. Yeah, we can just make our own. There we go. And then I think what all we have to do is effectively just duplicate it and turn it up one semitone. It's a little bit loud now, so let me turn it down. Let's do like a 7, let's do a 4, 5, and maybe like a 9. Well, I guess a little bit messy on the low end. But let's maybe high pass this around the low end. And then let's grab a low end. Try different So now we get chromatically irrelevant sine waves all kind of being filtered in and out by a filter table. But that is a bit of a tricky setup. Usually the saw wave is just enough. But now we can actually start designing stuff. So let's put the filter table on it. Let's try doing some sounds here. Section. MIDI clip. Let's bring this down. E minor. And let's bring this down to D. A little bit slower. I'm going to bring Chroma to the other side here. Let's bring in a landscape. Add a disposer. Let's go to the gate here and clean it up. Let's go ahead and turn the note trigger off here. Actually, no, we want to probably have that on. Let's add a sub to this. add an envelope to the pitch. Add some asymmetrical distortion. Another cool thing that you can do is you can actually duplicate this and start taking out certain notes and just turn up the resonant, the release here, and just mix that in. So Chroma does a bulk repitching, which means it takes, it assumes that the signal that's coming in is all chromatic, which means that if a frequency isn't perfectly on hitting a note, then it's going to be repitched up or down a semitone, but it's still not going to hit the note perfectly. So for very, very atonal sounds, something like pitch map will still produce some better results, or Prism in that case. But for most signals, Chroma is pretty much adequate. I'm going to bring a really, really cool psychoacoustic effect in here, just a little bit of a ping pong. And lastly, I'm going to bring in one of my effects, which is Spectral light. That's the Chroma ringing right there. And then we'll clean it up. Let's go to the filter table again. Also lower some of the let's try a different wavetable. So you can definitely hear the ringing here with the morph off. Hard to use. Ooh. Get out of here. 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 Let's put on some drums. I like the drums in this one, so I'm gonna just cut them up to be there. Guys, move them up there. And then we'll need a big start. Let's do 10. Grab this guy and make a little shaker out of it. So let me see, medium. I think when I have warp this. Yep. This. Oh, hello, Papers guys. Maybe we can also bring some chroma into this one. Put that to a D. And I think I'm just going to use the morph here. Out into that as well. Grab the shifter here. Another micro break in here. I'm gonna go ahead and just there. Cut this up because that looks like a fun thing to loop. And let's just maximize this. Now, let's bring in some random element and make it melodic. I think that has some nice sort of windy sounds to it. So I'm just gonna pitch it. I'm just gonna let it repitch the way it is right now. And move it a little bit. Load up Chroma. Usable. Morph gate. That part. Oh, because this is repitched, this might be retuned, off-tuned. Let's load up. Let's do the transgate again. 2. Turn up the attack, sustain down, decay up. On that. Start moving this. That sounds lovely. Let's bring in some stereo to this. Start going crazy with the filter table here. Ooh. And now I want this synth to actually have a symphony, or sort of a group of voices. So there's a particular thing you can do. I'm going to grab a snap heap here. I'm going to start creating separate pitches. So I'm going to grab the pitch shifter. Let's have the compensation at low. Let's put this one to, let's do 3 or 4. Next one on 7, and the other one like down 4. Let's go ahead and add a harsh effect to each, and then make sure all of these are high passed, because there's going to be a lot of low end. Then we're just going to throw Chroma on that. See? Super gated. Without it. And then with it. Start playing out with the wavetable. Let's try another one. You can see how really just the gate cleans it all up. You can bring in some more thing. Go to the other one. Maybe I'll bring in a little bit of noise here, just so we have something to work with on the high end. How cool is that? Let's try different additive ones. Let's see. That's our group of let's add a second harmonic here. Be a third. Let's try a different type. Let's try the melody ones. Let's try the original one. I mean the minimum one. Go ahead and get something. These are the particular here. That one sounds awesome. I think OBS disconnected there for a second, if I'm not mistaken. Just a second. Let me quickly check something. Yeah, that's the starting connection. Let's lower the release of these guys and then not the... There we go. So this is what it would sound like without Chroma. And with it. That's just one quick example of what you can do. Another cool thing we can do and try is using the same faceplant is let's do some really gnarly sounds here, just with a sort of a lower harmonic. And then what I'll do is I'll grab filter table and just take it as is. And I'm going to grab a complex wavetable here. And we're just going to modulate. Let's go with raw mode. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of a pitch envelope to the entire thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load up a convolver and I'm going to add a little bit of disperse. And then I'm going to add a little bit of spec comp. Up a little bit. And then I'm going to add a chroma. And turn on these two guys. So you can hear how the format of the bass is still the same regardless of the note. Might also be able to slightly affect the volume of the sub here. Let's try minimum. And now let's go ahead and just key track this. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of reverb onto this so we can get some cool sounds out of this. Do some comb filtering. And then I'm going to have this at 100%. And I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I'm going to have this way lower. Load up curve comp. Go. Let me take this down. Let's also bring in a little bit of delay for that. Ping pong, just a random amount. And now try linear phase mode. Let's try the raw mode again. Absolutely wild stuff here. Go back to Chroma. Make it a little bit more sparkly in the high end. Let's maybe combine two wavetables. Let's go with something a little bit more additive on this end. Make sure this is in the same veins. Squarify, maybe? Have the morph a little bit. There's a really cool suite of sweeping filters. I think there was one that was really fun. Let's see which one it was. Was it the... I think it was the metallic low pass. Turn up the mix here. Getting some really fun. Just make this one shot here. Some cool movements. There's some mega squash. Whoa! Yeah. Try the random flange. Wild stuff. I'm doing well. How about you? There's some absolutely wild things in there. Sweeping. there. Hello, Espen. And again, without the morph and the gate, you get all of that very obvious filtering and ringing. So we don't even have to worry about this anymore now with the gate and the morph. Does Chroma update automatically? No, you would want to go to the Xinf Audio website and download the installer and just update it that way, I believe. So I think if you hit this button and hit the check for updates section, then go to your downloads. It's a free update. And if we combine that with harmonic, sweet. But yeah, I implore all of you to just try it out on all kinds of sounds. This just makes Chroma sound better. At the end of the day, what it does under the hood in terms of how it messes with the frequencies and how it repitches them is still the same, because that's what people like. Just the way you can now mix it with the dry signal is just heaps better with the spectral effects. There's some applications as well where you could just use Chroma as a spectral gate if you wanted to. So if we had some kind of loop, we could just start using a spectral gate on the mids. Maybe we'll include some more of the high-end. You can even mute the high-end. Then let's go ahead and start pitching it around and see what kind of cool stuff we get. Discord call type music, yeah, pretty much. But we can really build something with this kind of stuff. So if we bring in maybe like a synth loop. This one, let's keep it on complex. Let's do over here. Copy Chroma over to the ARP. Bring in one more. Bring in this one, and I'm going to put this one on the beats mode, and then put it on 1/16. Make it really short. Needs to be faster. Oh. Not quite getting it. This one. Let's put it on complex. Grab a transgate and then make it 16. 32. Oh, it's because of the... Okay, I see. Need to change the speed of this all over the place. There we go. Now let's make it... Make it 100 and somewhere around here. Then make it slower. Cool. I'll duplicate the transgate and give it a... That's close. I think we have to have 16. Bam. Bam. Yep, 16. Go. Put some chroma on that. And then maybe before that, we'll add a delay. Or if I still have it, I'm not sure if it's all in this computer. I don't think so. There we go. Go back to this one. A little bit high for me. Let's make a little bit of what's it called? Hyperpop. So I'm going to go to this one. Actually, maybe pitch it up an octave. Bring in the face plant. And then we'll make this a simple... Bam. Down, and then bring this down, bring this up, add a little bit of holding. Then we'll bring this down. Bring this up. I'm going to add a little bit of a envelope here to the filter. Let's add an inward movement. Let's also key track the filter. That's all clean. Just the last one maybe sounds a little bit goofy. Bring in the let's add a little bit of always. Oh, let's bring in a clap. Oh, these are all a bit aggressive. Go to the other pack. This one, let's turn it up a little bit. Make it shorter so we only have one transient. In. And then let's go ahead and add an EQ. Let's make this lower. And let's go ahead and distort it. Bring in some nice symbols. Maybe these will work well as well with this. Let's see. A little bit aggressive, so I'm going to grab a curve comp. In this end is the kick drum. And for that, we're going to kicks. Quarter. Over, good size, and there we go. Find a little bit. Now let's bring in one more signal. Have anything here? This one. That's not the right, so A minor. B. So Let's go ahead and put this in D minor again. Just let Chroma take care of it. And now let's try and move it up. So in this case, for example, with the morphing, you can almost tell how it's making it sound linear phased almost. It's like it's really only doing the tuning part in this case. Try something way higher. Now we can just take parts and maybe build our own thing. Maybe we'll reverse these. For some reason, reversing doesn't work. I'm pressing R, but it's not doing it for some reason. Let's cut it here. Almost got it. Rise a bit lower. There we go. Back to Chroma. Morph all the way up. Let's move this one a little bit. EQ it a little bit. Now we can see what sound like in Phrygian dominant. I'm gonna go ahead and put Chroma on the entire master. Put in Phrygian. And both of these up. I'll remove the D sharp here. Actually, keep it. So you can get a bit of a different vibe out of this as well, if you want to. But yeah, I think that was enough doodling around. Chroma version 1.2 is now out. You can try it if you already own it. And hopefully it'll make things sound better for you. And besides that, there's obviously, on my end, there's a lot more other stuff coming very soon. Specifically, even hopefully before the end of this month, there's going to be a public, well, not public, but a beta happening on my Patreon, where you will be able to beta test one of my upcoming plug data patches, because it's going to be a very special one. But that is besides Chroma, and this live stream is mostly about Chroma. I'm also wanting to stream more in the future. I'm currently trying to get a better setup. As you can tell with the breakouts from Starlink, it's not the best for streaming. But besides that, if there are no more questions, I think that'll conclude the live stream for today. I'm hoping the it's set to pub chat. Let me go to live chat. Yeah, it's the same. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna play the video, the demo that I did one more time, and then I think I'm gonna actually wrap up the stream. Regarding Bitwig streams, I am still waiting on Bitwig to release their next beta. They have been on Bitwig 6 beta for like several weeks now. And I'm just waiting for them to update it to beta 5, because there is some pretty severe bugs still at the moment that will make working in Bitwig 6 right now pretty annoying. But hopefully once they fix some of those bugs and make it easily usable, I'll be switching to it straight away. I've already made up my mind. Bitwig seems very, very intuitive. And then we're going to have an entire series of live streams just figuring out how to operate the thing, what are the strengths of it, and then actually making some music in it as well. Thank you for the wealth of knowledge, as always. Yeah. But yeah, besides that, I hope this live stream was useful to y'all. I'm gonna be heading out now because I need to go eat something as well. And then other than that, I wish you all a lot of fun with this new Chroma update. Hopefully it'll make it a lot more useful for a lot of you. And there's still going to be lots of other stuff happening very soon. There's actually so many projects and plug data patches and all that is currently going on. Why are you switching doors? The reason I'm switching is because Ableton doesn't scale with big projects. So the bigger your project gets, the slower the software becomes. And that seems almost like counterintuitive in terms of actually finishing music. So when you have a serious project and you start having, you know, 100 tracks or maybe 200 tracks and a bunch of plugins, I've had it where just adding an audio track or just adding a MIDI track would take several seconds, and then adding more plugins would add several seconds or take several seconds to load. And it was not a fun time. It was very much hindering my workflow. I'm not sure if it's also apparently an issue on macOS, but it's specifically a problem with Ableton. For example, in Bitwig, you can have like 400 audio channels and you add one more and it's no problem. Whereas with Ableton, it's not the case. you're going to start having issues even just with 100 tracks. I think FL Studio has other kinds of problems, but yeah, generally speaking, if your DAW doesn't really scale well with bigger projects, then like, what's the point, right? If you can start ideas, but you can't finish them because the software can't keep up, then what's the point? And speaking of that, actually, obviously adding plugins and adding channels, adding samples, adding media and all that, and instruments obviously adds to the CPU usage and the amount of work you're putting onto your system. And with this new Chroma update, nice little transition, we've introduced a new feature which is called multi-rate processing. What this does is it basically takes Chroma's processing, which is happening in the midst of the frequency spectrum, up to 8 kilohertz, and it processes at a lower sample rate. So, for example, if you had 48 kilohertz, then Chroma can, for example, process half of that. So let's say 24 kilohertz, because the frequencies it's processing, at least the bulk of the processing, happens within this range, and it doesn't happen beyond on the high frequencies, which saves a lot of CPU usage. Something similar I do in Prism as well, where I'm downsampling the filtering, the filter bank there to save on CPU. But especially in Chroma, it's gotten a huge bump to CPU usage. Well, the opposite, right? It's dropped the CPU usage a lot. So what you'll end up having is you'll have the spectral effects on, you'll have the high quality mode on, you'll have the color all the way up, you can have the spectrum all the way up, and that will still use less CPU, potentially less CPU than the old version running all of the available options, which is a huge win. But yeah, besides that, I'm going to wrap up the stream now. Thank you so much for showing up and checking out the new update. The stream will stay up as a VOD, so you can watch through the examples that I gave. Chroma is a lot more versatile now. You can do a lot more with it. It's got less of the filtering sound that it's sort of known for, and hopefully that makes it a little bit more useful for a lot of people. And besides that, I wish you all a great rest of your night. I'll see you around very soon when Bitwig finally updates to the next beta and it's usable. And have fun. Bye-bye. Also, yes, sorry, Soundcolor. I literally just wrapped up the stream. Good timing. But I'll keep up the video so you can watch it.